Hey everybody, welcome to DBYC Podcast. I'm Taisha, the host of all this right here, and today we have Kayla. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm hot. So today we are going to be talking about her book and her journey as an author. Come on. What, she's 25
Yes.
and an author? That's kind of crazy, is it not? It's pretty impressive, I would say. I do want to tell y'all how I came across her. Well, the first time we interacted, I think it was on Facebook, and we were talking about photo shoots. And the next time, like maybe a year or two later, I seen her again, and I'm already, looking for people to come on the podcast. And I'm like, usually I let people reach out to me, but this time I kind of want to go a different route and find like heavy hitters. You feel me? And I think the lineup for this season is going to be really impressive, I think. So I want her to tell y'all about her journey, and yeah.
Well, I'm Kayla Faith. My journey is based on faith. That's the name of the book, is Journey of Faith. My book is about my life dealing with sickle cell and moya and all of the challenges and triumphs I done came over in the past 21 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a testimony. The whole book has testaments of my life in it. So
When I tell y'all, when y'all purchase this book and y'all actually like sit down and read it, it's gonna be something that you read multiple times, just because of the fact that it's like, why can I even believe this? Because it was, my heart was in my lap. Because it's like, you think you got it a certain way bad, and then you read somebody or you see somebody else's life, and you're like, wow, like, we're blessed beyond measure, because as many things as happened to you, it's like, hold up, we outside. We outside tonight. You feel me? But no, like it just shows you how strong we are. Yes. And what faith can actually do for you in your life. And I want you to tell the people what faith actually means to you.
So faith is really like a word to everybody, but to me, it's something that I live by. Dealing with what I've dealt with, faith is important. Not only is it just my middle name. What's crazy is my mom had a moment with God, and he told her to name me Faith. She had no idea why.
Yeah.
She was like, he told me, and I'm going to do it. And once, getting here, she realized, I know why God had forced me to name you Faith, because that's the only thing that you live by. Through everything, you have to have faith. One of my favorite scriptures, walk by faith and not by sight. So
amen. Nah, because when you do that, and a lot of us, like she said, don't know what it actually means until we are actually put to a test.
Yes.
And life is full of those. It's so spontaneous and it's so unpredictable that you sometimes have to just lean on what you can't see or what you don't know, because what other choice do you have? She has been through a tremendous triumphs. I am in disbelief still, and I'm like, I done read the book so many times, because I'm just like, she was so young, and I felt so bad. Like, I felt like I'm not a mom, but she is. But
yes.
I felt like she was my child, and I was just like, oh my God. Like, not my baby. So it was just like, I was very impressed with what you had wrote, and that you were very open and honest about your experience, because a lot of people can't do that.
I feel like that's part of faith as well. You got to tell it. It takes faith to be able to tell your own testimony.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they're going to be quiet about it and be like, no, nobody needs to know my business or whatever. And which I was for a long time. Really? I did not want to write my own book. I was like, when I tell you, for years in high school, people say, write a book.
Yeah.
I don't want people to know my business. Like,
why do you think that you were an advocate for not like speaking on it?
because I cared about what people thought. In high school, I did think what people thought. They're going to be like, oh, she's sick, or, you know, something's wrong with her. And then another one of my things, not a lot of men going to want to be with a woman that got these type of problems.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, clock it ST. I do relate to you in that way because of the fact that I did get diagnosed with diabetes. And I feel like we are interconnected in the autoimmune. I don't like to call it a disease. I hate calling what we have diseases. I just call it a condition. And, I mean, whether it's permanent or temporary, I mean, the connotation of disease, it sounds so infectious and sounds like so degrading.
Yeah.
And like you say, like, people might step back, but for us, that connected us. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, with you being able to speak your truth, and like you say, you saw that I started another podcast, Sweet as Diabetes. Y'all go check that out. It's the ability to be like, this is what's happening. Because a lot of people don't know, especially in the Black household, it's like, our business is our business. All the streets don't need to know.
Exactly.
But yes, they do. Because if they don't know what's going on with them, if they having similar symptoms or whatever, they could probably save their own life.
Yes. And
I just think these type of things are important to talk about. So,
you know, sickle cell runs in the African American community, and 70% of African Americans do not speak on sickle cell.
See, like.
And we're out here, I'm going to just put it out there. We're out here having kids with, you know, having a sickle cell trait.
Yeah.
And another partner have a sickle cell trait. Then you got a sickle cell disease baby.
Now, not to put her business out there, but that's what happened. And I mean, that's what happened. And it's like, with us being unknowing, we do things, and not saying that we wouldn't do it if we did know, because she does have another testimony to that as well. But y'all gotta read the book. She might talk about it, she might not. I ain't gonna press on it right now. But no, like, it's very important, and I just want to thank you for sharing, for real, because it's important.
I want to thank you for letting me be on here and speak on it.
Oh,
like,
you better stop.
No, because here's the thing. I could write a book all day,
yeah.
But how many people touch a book? How many people read words?
I know.
They would rather watch a video than to get education from a book.
I know. And it's sad. But I'm telling y'all, when I seen it, I had to go get it. Because it was just like, I have to know more. Like, I told her the other day, I was like, yeah, I'm reading your book, and da-da-da-da-da. She was like, you're reading my book? I was like, yeah. Like, dang.
But when you think about it, how many people our age is going to pick up a book?
Even older people, though.
Yeah. They're not going to go into a library and be like,
oh, yeah.
Or even go to a library at that. They're not going to go on Amazon and be like, I'm going to go buy a book.
Right. And it's not... I feel like we are the stepping stones to expanding our generation and turning it around, because, like, the short attention spans.
Speak on it.
Honey, y'all better watch this video. Y'all see us beaming in this sun. We grilling. We sizzling in this sun. I know y'all better watch this video. Yes, this is going to be long-form content, and you better watch it, because it's important. Can you tell us what sickle cell is? Okay.
So sickle cell is a blood disorder. Like I said, primary in African Americans. What it does, it's a crescent-shaped cell. Like you would regularly have red blood cells, but with people that have sickle cells, we have red blood cells and then sickle cells, and they're crescent and they stick onto each other. They're very sticky. So once they get into like your veins and things like that, if they get attached enough where you're not having blood flow like it's supposed to happen, it can cause pain, it can cause a stroke, it can cause for sickle cell people know it's crises, sickle cell crises, where most times you're sent to a hospital and you're on pain medicine for about a week.
And you went to the Children's Hospital of Atlanta?
Yes.
Okay, let's speak on them.
That is so in the beginning of my book, I had to thank Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because without them, I wouldn't be here today. They're first of all, they're outstanding. I take my son to them. That's how much I love the nurses. I love the care. They don't just, diagnose you. They don't just look at you as a sick person.
Right.
They look at you as a person. And when you go to hospitals nowadays, they ready to
get you
in and out, throw some medicine in you, be like, all right, you good? All right, have a nice day.
Follow up in 6 months.
Exactly. And then that's if you can get an appointment in that 6 months.
Yeah, if you can, man. It's the healthcare system of America is, y'all know how it is. So let's just say we're just blessed to be able to get the access wherever we can, when we can. But I wanted you to speak on the common themes in your book and the ones that stood out to you the most.
There are two major things for me. One is faith, and my second one would be support. You have to have a good support system of family, friends, co-workers, people that have been in your shoes, that understand. That's going to be a listening ear.
Yeah. That's
going to sit there and be like, you're going to get through this, or better yet, pray for you.
Yeah.
So... Sorry.
Right.
I don't do bugs.
They everywhere.
But finding that support system is a big thing for me. While I was in high school, I had a few friends that would actually come to my transfusions and sit with me for those 8 hours.
Yeah.
I used to have a friend that came into my transfusions. It's a blood transfusion, and she was scared of blood. That's a real friend. If you scared of blood and you're able to
How did that work?
She would close her eyes.
Oh,
she was there. She was there. She would close her eyes.
She was there.
There'd be times where she'll be in the bed with me. I'm
Okay.
like, girl, you on my cord. Like, I need you to move.
I need you to get up, bro. Thank you, but God, give me some space.
And there's a time where, those support systems, like my family, my mom and my dad, they were there through it all, of course. But I've had friends that would come, lay in the bed with me, whether it was a transfusion or if I'm about to go into surgery.
Yeah. And
be sitting there crying when I have to leave and go into that room.
Oh, my God. Now, reading this book, you've been through, was this like a yearly thing? Or like every other year? Because every page I turned, it was like, yep, now I got, what was it, aphasia? Is that how you say it?
Apheresis.
Oh.
When I tell you so many people say that, that's how I knew what she was saying. A lot of people say that. Aphasia. Apheresis.
That's how I read it.
The first time I heard it, I said, huh?
I was like, aphasia? Who's that?
Apheresis.
Okay.
So I started getting apheresis, I want to say back in 2017.
2017.
Well, I've been getting transfusions every month since I was 5 years old.
Every month?
Yes. Every month. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what do you even say to that? Like, that is insane. Like, how, even to this day?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I actually just had my last one 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
So, okay, walk me through the process of getting blood transfusions. Like, what does it do? What is going on?
So, apheresis and blood transfusion are similar but different. So I started off with blood transfusions first. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have scars on my chest. But I have to have a port put in because I have small veins and because I have to get, these treatments so regularly.
Right.
If I was to get them through my veins, I would be bruised up. I promise you. They tried it. They really did. That's when they were like, she has to have a port for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
But I started off with a port right in the middle of my chest when I was 5. But they would get a needle and stick it in the port.
I'm hungry. I'm sorry. But continue.
You'll stick the needle in the port. What they would do is give 8 units of blood.
Okay.
Because what they're trying to do was keep me from sickling. So
Right.
having my sickle cells to kind of, I don't want to say produce, but to come. But That's basically what they're trying to do, is trying to help me, trying to prevent me from having another stroke.
Right.
So I had my first stroke first when they realized that I needed to go ahead and get a port and go ahead and start transfusions, because when I was younger and I had my first stroke, they did an MRI, and that's when they realized I had moya moya.
Yeah.
And moya moya it's a Japanese word that means a puff of smoke.
Yeah.
So when you look at an MRI with somebody that has moya moya, you're gonna be like, that don't look like that.
Right.
And because it looks like a puff of smoke, it's thinning of the blood vessels in the brain. That's what causes the strokes, is how small the blood vessels are in my brain. It causes, yeah.
Y'all probably looking at my face. I am sad. Like, oh, because there's so many things that even come along with that, like being 5 years old. And I know you spoke on your self-confidence. Like, what is your journey now from when you first got that in to like right now? Like, how do you feel?
When I was younger, I was not confident in myself at all, because I would look at other females or other kids and be like, you know, they don't have a port.
Right.
You know, people, I used to be bullied a lot because I'm like, they're like, she's missing school, she's sick, she's this, she's that. And I'm like, I didn't ask for this.
Right. And people tend to make assumptions all the time when they don't know what's actually going on. And that's why you have to give people grace. And like, I'm really big on that. And I hate when people assume like, oh, she's a certain way because, oh, she looks like this or she talks like this, but you don't know her story. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to really start listening to people and seeing where they came from, because y'all, like, the empathy in today's world is like vanishing, and it's horrible.
Yes.
You know? Like, it shouldn't be, oh, she has a port or she has a pump, so what's wrong with her? Like, people make a lot of assumptions, and it's not cool. Like, even I was speaking to my mom the other day about it was a coworker of mine, and he was like, "What is that on you? What is this?" And mind you, I had this for like 2 weeks now. So I'm like, "Oh, it's my insulin pump." And he was like, "I'm like, my insulin because I'm diabetic." And he was like, "You're diabetic? You're not fat." And it's like, see, and I don't blame you guys for being ignorant to the topics, because I didn't know anything about diabetes either. But when I got it, you had to learn about it, and I had to lean on faith, because I had lost my eyesight for a month, and I didn't know it was coming back or not. And those were scary times.
Yes.
And my sight has nothing to do, like, can't even touch her story, because it just seemed like hers was back to back to back. But you see,
I would never try to compare my story to yours, because when I'm thinking, like, okay, I wear glasses.
Yeah.
And I am I'm there, but I ain't there.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine losing my sight.
It was scary. I can tell you that.
Yeah, like, I couldn't. My heart goes out to you.
Like, and just so y'all know, like, this ain't no trauma match. Like,
it's not.
It's just opening your eyes and realizing, like, life is, look at this. It's just doing what it's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna keep going regardless of what's happening. This plane flying through, but them trees still gonna grow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you probably don't know what that even mean right now.
Went right over the head.
It did. Rewind. It's okay. I know you got the button, but that's the important thing about having these conversations and connecting with people that if she didn't have her book, what would we have even connected again?
Not really.
Because what would have been our connecting point besides, like, let's take my photography out, let's take all that out, and let's just say, okay, we just two regular people who, she's not an author, I'm not doing my media stuff. I still don't know nothing about sickle cell. She still don't know nothing about diabetes or as much as she knew or about me, you know. So it's just the beauty in it all, and I really just enjoy having people like you on the show, because it's just refreshing for me to be like, and this is why we give grace, and this is why we sit down and learn about things, because, man, I would have never even known. Like, I don't know if we talked about this, but I'm gonna ask anyway.
Go ahead.
What would be some common signs for somebody, like, who don't know about sickle cell or any strokes or anything? Like, how would we pick that out and be able to help people like you?
So you wouldn't tell on common signs for sickle cell, but for a stroke, you would first look at the face. People that are having a stroke in their face, the side of their face will droop.
Okay.
Another one would be language, whether it's slurred or it's they don't understand what they're talking about. They would be like
So is this like a confusion?
Yes.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I get that, but it's when my sugar is low, because when your sugar's low, you're not getting it to your brain. So it's like when I go and I start doing stuff like that, I'm like, I need help, but it's like you don't. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, but continue. I just had to let y'all know a little tidbit.
And then you would have numbness in your legs and in your arms. So a lot of times you would think, oh, I fell asleep on my arm, and you have that, that type.
Like it's dead.
Yeah, like it's dead. That's how you would literally feel if you're having a stroke. And then if it's lasting for, I would say, over an hour, it's time for you to go to the hospital.
Okay.
But time is a big thing when you're having a stroke. People don't realize that how fast you have to pick up on these signs and how to, get to the hospital, because the longer you go without being seen by a physician or a doctor or whatever, the more power it gives the stroke. For myself, when I was 13, and I lost my memory, I lost 85% of my memory. We didn't know I was having a stroke.
Ooh.
And I went the whole day. My dad, and that's the crazy thing, I was on medication. It was like for pain, or whatever. So he thought maybe it was the medication side effects of why I kept having slurred speeches and didn't understand what I was talking about. He was like, it's the medication. And I slept for a long time. It was hours, and it was a nap. It wasn't like it was a nap. And I woke up, girl, let me tell you, I didn't know who my dad was.
See that?
I didn't know. I called my sister, my mom, and they were like, Kayla, stop playing. And I have this like look on my face because I don't know you.
Oh my God.
That hurt my family to the max, because, being 13, I don't know anybody in this house, and I'm sitting here and y'all looking at me like there's something wrong, but I don't know you.
Know.
And like I said, I lost 85% of my memory, of my cognitive memory. So I was 13 years old, about to start 8th grade, and I was back on a 2nd grade reading and writing level. Yeah.
Coming back to, like, when everything was said and done and you were trying to regain your memory, like, what did you have to go through, and how did you end up being like, oh, I do know you now, or I remember this place?
I wouldn't say, like, it took a while for me to be able to remember. There's still things that I can't remember. Okay. Like my childhood, there's a lot of stuff that I do have trouble. Like if somebody was in my past and they just come up and like, hey, Kayla, and I'm like, do I know you?
Right.
Like if you weren't there, you don't know, and you thinking I'm being rude, but I don't remember you.
Yeah.
But I went through, of course, tutoring. I had to go through a lot of therapists, physical therapy, of course, speech therapy. I went through a lot. I had to go through a lot of physicians and people that kind of helped me get back to who I am. Like I couldn't remember, but it took time.
With the physical therapy, why did you have to do physical therapy?
Because they were scared that if I had another stroke, it would next go to my arms and legs.
Oh.
I did. So when I had my strokes in the past, before the one that I lost my memory, I did have numbness in, either one of my arms or my legs. I'm lying. I did not have a stroke in my legs. Either one of my arms, and I got weaker every time. Oh, so I used to be, you didn't want to play with me when I was younger.
Oh, Lord.
But like my strength would go away. And that's something they wanted to trying to help me regain, but it was really hard for me to regain strength.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, so while I was reading,
Mm-hmm.
did you have a total of 3 strokes or 4?
6.
6?
Yes.
Did I miss some, or were they not included?
I did not include them in my book.
Lord have mercy.
I did not include them in my book. So I had
6 is crazy.
It's 5.
5 is
5.
crazy.
I've had 2 in this arm, 2 in this arm, and then the one that I lost my memory. 5 strokes.
Whew.
So there were some strokes that I did not put in the book because
Okay.
I'm like, it's repetitive, and
That's crazy.
It's part of them. I'm like, dang, what age was I at this stroke? And I
Were
remember
any in your 20s?
No.
Okay.
So here's yes.
Yes.
But those are called TIAs.
Oh.
Those. Now, if you was to ask me how many TIAs I've had,
Okay.
I could not tell you. It's been numerous of TIAs. Like, my parents don't even know the number of TIAs I've had. But I did have one right before I had my son. I had numbness in my arm, and I was like, Mom, I'm having a stroke. And she was like, well, somebody needs to take you to the hospital. Don't do this. But I drove myself to the hospital. After I just said I had numbness in my arm.
No, because I'm going to tell y'all one thing that kept making me upset with her when I was reading this book. And I was upset because I wish that she didn't feel like that. And I heard you. Okay. It was, you kept speaking on being embarrassed and feeling like you had to hide it and you were suffering. And I hated that for you because I was like, why don't she just tell them, like, I don't feel good? Like, was the hospital visits really, like, worse than the feeling that you were feeling? Because it was breaking my heart. I ain't gonna
All of my strokes have been in front of people.
Right.
It's never been, like, to myself. So, when I was younger, I was in school where kids don't understand strokes.
Right.
I'm the first one to realize what a stroke is. I'm 5 years old, and I'm like, oh, I had a stroke. What?
Yeah.
Like, the kids are like, girl, you're weird now, right?
See, and that kids are so cruel. And I wrote that in my notes because they really are. Like, she talked about being bullied and how her self-esteem was affected by all of this and how she felt alone. And I'm just like, if I knew you, like, earlier, like, I was always the type of person, like, she spoke on, I was the type of person who sat alone at lunch. And I'm like, I would have sat with her, like, because I was that was me. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, but I ain't go to we went to the same school, but we kind of didn't. I only went there for, like, one period. But it's just, like, it's a blessing to know you now. So that's cool. And, man, I just hate kids because they're so mean. They so mean. They don't be knowing what they talking about.
But and I don't want to put nobody out there, but that's parenting. If you don't teach your kids, don't stare at that person because, like you said, you got a pump. Yeah. Don't stare.
Don't do that.
Communicate.
Yeah, just
you can be like, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir. Why do you have that?
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, and stuck in the face and staring and making the person feel uncomfortable. When I tell you in high school, you know how many people thought my scars on my chest were because I had breast implants? I said, you think I have breast implants? They was like, yeah, they're big and you got these scars. First of all, you would not see the scars if I had a breast implant.
And don't they be at the bottom? Like, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
I don't know either because I ain't never had that. Like, people used to think that, like, you had a breast implant. No.
It's like, okay. It's like playing devil's advocate. Yes, parents should teach their children the proper way to handle people who aren't like them. Yeah. But it's like, I guess when you're not around it, and it's like, how do you communicate that to your kid if no one is there to be the example person? And like we was talking about earlier, like, there's people in my family who have diabetes, but we didn't know until later, right? Because, me, how old was I? I was just turning 21, but I felt the symptoms at 20. Okay. So it was like, I figured out I had diabetes before the doctors did. I just didn't want it to be true because I didn't know what was actually going on. I was in Valdosta. That's 4 hours away. And I'm like, I don't have nobody down here with me. Mm-hmm. What am I going to do, you know? So it's just like not having people actually being open and talking about it. I'm like, I could have ended up in the coma. I could have ended up dead.
Yeah.
Because I was functioning high for at least 6, 7, 8 months. And I was just like, y'all gonna hear about that in the podcast later. Y'all go watch that. But I ain't gonna say too much. But just know it's difficult when we don't have these conversations, and exactly. I just have to keep reiterating that, because if you do have an issue or a condition, we are human at the end of the day, and it could happen to any of us at any time because we have autoimmune conditions. So, child. So I did want to get into, one day you were feeling on top of your game, and then the next moment you just in a box now. How does that make you feel?
Being at a young age, I didn't realize it, but it was more of an embarrassment. But I had to realize that's when I became so strict in faith. Yeah. And I was so like, I'm going to get through this. I remember I had a doctor's appointment with my mom about getting the sickle cell transplant, to get a transplant, basically get rid of my sickle cell. Right. And, you know, she's in the front seat. She's crying because the survival rate was very low. Right. So she was crying. And I told my mom, I was like, what are you crying about? God got me. Yeah. Oh. And she looked in, like, she's driving, and then I'm looking at her, looking at me through that mirror. Yeah. And she like, what did she just say? Right. At a young age, like, I knew that, you know, I was protected. I was covered by the blood of Jesus at a young age, and I knew that I was going to get through any challenges, any triumphs that would come in my way.
See, it is, for you to say that and be so young, it's like it only could be one thing. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So that speaks volume in your story, as is. Like, that's some crazy stuff. You do know that, right?
Now that looking back at it, yeah. Yeah, because when I look at people like my age and they're like, oh, girl, I had like a perfect childhood. Yeah. Da, da, da. Girl, I was in the hospital most of my childhood.
I was down bad a little bit.
Like, at a young, and then this is crazy. Like, at a young age, I went and got baptized. Most people are like, I'll wait till I get older. No, I knew. You knew. I knew when it was time. It was like, I gotta go do this.
I like that you walk in your faith and you walk in your path, and you don't let other people like deteriorate you from that. You be you regardless of what's going on around you or who's there, who's looking. Because like even in part of your book, I noticed you was like, you got bullied, and I was like, you know what's crazy? At first she was like, basically what you were saying to me was, don't matter if I'm doing bad or good, they still doing it. So it's like in those moments, it's like, F this. I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna be me at the end of the day. And I you know, I meant you for that. You know, like,
thank you.
For us to be so young and get those messages and those downloads from the universe or God or however, you know, it's important that we listen to it, because that saves your life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I feel like it's just so cool. I still don't like the fact that these people, like, in the things that's going on with your body made you embarrassed, but I'm glad that you ended up embracing it in the end. So,
and I feel like a lot of that is, I'm gonna call it out, being a female as well. You don't see too many males that's out here being, man, I you know, like, I'm shy about my body. I'm shy about these scars. Like, I don't want nobody to see, like. Yeah. But for a female, because we have such high expectations of other females. Like, if I look at you and I, like, back then, you know, people looked at me or they, you know, like, what's wrong with her? You know, like, she's disgusting. Why does she got these scars or whatever?
Not disgusting. Oh,
like, I don't know. Like, that's how people would be when you're young girls, basically. Yeah. Because you don't see too many, you know, boys that's sitting here bullying. I mean,
them dudes.
But that's well. scratch that.
Yeah.
Everybody
has their struggles.
Everybody
had their struggles. Like speaking on just being bullied, like I know some of my friends. I ain't gonna call his name out, but he used to be my best friend back in high school, middle school, and everybody used, oh, you just so black, you so dark, you midnight, you this, you that, me included. But he was my best friend, so it was like, it's okay. But because I'm playing. But
I get to talk about you.
You feel me? But at the same time, it's like, you don't really know how that's playing on people's psyche.
Exactly.
And I used to get bullied a lot, more so in elementary school. I was smaller than this. Collarbones was always sticking out. They always used to, you so skinny. Yeah. So I wanted to get bigger, so, I was more full. And, oh, you're so fat.
It's going to be something.
Every time.
It's going to be something. Oh, you got a gap.
Oh,
you
ain't got to tell me about it. I know about it. Oh, my God.
They going to talk about when you doing good and you got a book. They're going to be like, oh, you a nerd. I should be like, oh, you dumb because you don't read.
You can't read. It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing, bad or good, and people gonna find something to talk about. So you might as well do what you want.
And that part.
Your quote. You said, "I went from a little girl with a bright, budding future to a girl with a disability." Do you feel like your condition holds you back?
Now, I don't.
Okay.
Back then, I did. Because, of course, like I said, people put you in a box. They're like, because I had an IEP. Right. I went from being a star student to having an IEP, and I'm now have a learning disability.
Can you remind the people what an IEP is?
Individualized educational plan.
Yeah, right. And that's how we do that.
Yeah.
So, man.
And people don't understand that. Like, a lot of people will be like, oh, she's special needs.
Right.
Or, whatever. I'm like, that don't make me special needs.
Right.
That gives me a gift.
Yeah.
See, while you over here got a time test.
I get to take all the time I actually need. And it's so bad because nobody really puts emphasis on, hey, this is what this is what this means. Like, we're in school for 12, 13 years, and it's a lot of things that we don't even cover that are real. Like, I know this is very random, but speaking on pregnancy and everything, and do you know what an ectopic pregnancy, do you know what that is?
No.
That is a pregnancy, is when the baby is forming in your fallopian tubes instead of your uterus. So if you was to take a pregnancy test, it wouldn't pick up.
Wow.
But it could kill you. If the baby got too big, like I want to say up to 2 to 3 months, I think, or something like that, it could rupture.
Yeah.
And it could kill you. And it's like, nobody talks about that stuff. And it's like, how do you know if nobody talks about it? You don't hear it from home. You don't hear it from school. And you don't know these things until it happens to you.
Exactly.
And it's like,
going off of what you're talking about with pregnancy.
Yes.
Pregnancy, it should be a natural thing for a woman.
Yes.
But in my situation, in my health, they wanted me to go ahead and terminate right then and there. My first appointment, they were like,
that was your first one?
My very first appointment, they told me to terminate. And that was scary for me. I knew. Now, they used to say that pregnancy for sickle cell people is like rare. It's a slim chance for you to be pregnant. I got pregnant on accident. I ain't even gonna lie.
It's okay. I'm
gonna speak about it. Like, I got pregnant on accident. Like, I didn't know it. I was 8 weeks pregnant. Had my menstrual cycle one time, and then I missed it, and because my cycles were irregular, so I didn't even know I was pregnant. I'm thinking, I'm cramping and whatever, and then
to find out.
Yep, I found out I was pregnant, and I was like, they went to my first appointment, and the doctor just straight up, you need to terminate, like. And you only have a week to terminate. You only have a week to think about it.
Right.
Girl.
And it's like, even now, like with the abortion laws getting more stricter in Georgia, you got 6 weeks. Most women find out when they're about 4 or 5 weeks. And in all seriousness, you have almost no time. Like she said, she had a week to, but tell them what actually happened at that doctor's appointment.
So at that doctor's appointment, of course, this is during COVID, and you weren't allowed to have a visitor in the room with you. So we used to, like me and my family, we would have Zoom or messenger calls so that they can be in my appointments with me and be some type of support. Even though they weren't there, they were there at every appointment. But, you know, first I'm in a room alone, and I'm hearing the doctor come in, and she just says, you know, with your history, you don't need to have this baby. You need to go ahead and terminate. And like everybody's on the phone and everybody's just like crying.
Right.
I had to turn my phone down because I just like, it hit me like, I'm not, what? That
wasn't the plan.
That was not the plan. And I cried and I cried. And I was like, I need a moment. That's what I told her. I said, I need a moment. And she walked out of the room and I'm crying. And I heard God say, Kayla, you're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You're going to get through this. She came back in the room. I like, chin up, chest out. And I told her, I said, I'm not aborting. I'm not finna terminate my child. And she was like, what made you decide that so quick? I said, because I don't need you to tell me about myself, my faith, or my God.
Right.
You have no dictation over what I've been through.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that I haven't gone through it and going through it.
And then on top of that, this is a miracle because I'm not even supposed to be able to conceive.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So I told her, I was like, I'm having a baby. And she told me, she was like, we'll see you in 1 week for the termination.
That's disrespectful. I'm not gonna cap, like that part of the book, I had to keep rereading that part specifically because I was in such like disbelief that how like from a medical standpoint, I understand your concern, but as a patient, you should listen to what I'm trying to do so you can help best guide me in that.
And instead of telling me to terminate, like you can recommend.
Yeah, and that's
Don't just say do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people gonna fall for it. Because of course, at that age, I was only 21.
Right.
And I'm young. They're like, do it. She's like, how can you?
But they do that in the hospital too. Oh my Jesus,
girl.
But no, they be doing that in the hospital when a lot of people gotta advocate for themselves, and then they feel scared because medical professional. But what is your body telling you? What is the universe telling you, like, for real?
You know your body better than anybody.
Yeah, sure. Amen.
Can't no doctor tell you about your own body that you've been living in and how many years you. They can't tell you that. Like,
clock it. That's T. I love that. Who be saying that? Megan. Shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Cause she be coming through.
Go Meg. Go Meg.
Get it, Clock. Get him, Clock. Yeah, bro. I've been singing that for like the past 2 weeks. What is the significance of having a reliable and stable support system?
Oh God, it's everything. Having a reliable support system, geez.
I know. It gets you jittery, right?
Yes. When I tell you, my mom and my dad have been 10 toes down in this. Like, since I'm not even since I got sick or since birth. Because they're like, my mom, when she found out I had sickle cell, she was upset.
Right.
She was very upset because she was like, she didn't understand what sickle cell is because nobody told her she even had the trait.
Right.
So it's like, my daughter got this disease and I don't know what to do. Like, but when I tell you, having that support system, somebody to, I can't say guide you, but walk with you through it.
Yeah.
That's
to
important.
Have them hand in
hand. Yes. And to tell you, things are going to be all right. They don't know if it's going to be all right, but they can tell you and they can be there.
And lean on faith.
And lean on faith, yes.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that had happened in that time, how do you think that impacted your relationship with your parents?
It made our relationship very strong. Very strong. Even when I lost my memory, like I did not remember my family at all. So having it was a restart.
Yeah.
I got to learn my family all over again. So people be like, "Oh, you don't remember your family?" No, I didn't remember them, and I don't remember like a lot of my past. But I got to restart, and I got to have another, a new start. Like I'm like, what if there was bad things that God didn't want me to remember? That's what I be.
And speak on it.
Like, what if, like, you know what? There's something that you dealt with. Maybe I just need to restart it for you.
Yeah. I need to get you a fresh, clean slate.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people sometimes need it, and they wish they could have that. I wish I could forget, And it's like times like that, you don't even know that it's a blessing that had happened to you. Like, I mean, yeah, you can look at it like, oh my gosh, who am I? Where am I? Who are these people? But at the same time, it's like, well, I'm here, so let's do what it do.
Exactly.
Let's rock out. So, you mentioned your sister had the same condition.
Yes.
Now, I really wanted to get into. I got you. Oh, thank you.
There you go. It's right.
And that's why we keep her on payroll. And because it's so hot and my brain is not acting right, we're going to read from the paper. So you mentioned that your sister had the same condition and stated, I often wondered why I suffered so much when we had the same disease. When did you realize that everyone's path or journey was their own?
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's on reading from the paper.
Yikes. She done touched on it, yeah.
That's right.
So of course, with my sister having the disease, the way we identified ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't judge us, but she would say, I'm pain and I'm strokes. So when you meet because she dealt with pain crisis. So when my sister dealt with pain crisis, I never dealt with that.
Right.
I started dealing with that in my older, as I got older, but I did not deal with that at a young age, and my sister did. And she my sister, I remember my sister's first sickle cell crisis. Oh. And we was at church. It was like a vacation Bible school. So my parents weren't there. It was just me.
Yeah.
And we were young or whatever.
That feels amazing.
Girl, God knew we needed it. Thank you. But they were like, people were like, what's going on with her?
Yeah.
And they called the ambulance, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. This ain't never happened before.
Were y'all alone?
Yes, it was me and my sister. We're at church.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a vacation Bible school. And like I said, people don't talk about sickle cell.
Right.
So they didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So the ambulance gets there, and they're asking her questions. She couldn't answer her own questions.
Oh, Lord.
They're like, what medicine are you on? What are you having? Right. I said, and I'm over here like, she has sickle cell anemia. She takes hydroxyurea. She's, I'm like,
go sister.
I'm going, and then I feel so bad. If you watch this, Kendall, I still feel bad to this day. So they put her into the ambulance.
Yeah.
I was too scared to get in there with her. They was like, "Are you coming with us? Because we need more questions." I said, "No, I'm gonna ride in the car." I left my sister in the ambulance by herself. I still feel bad to that day because
why did you not ride?
Because I was scared myself.
Oh my gosh.
We were young. We were really young. It was before we got into high school.
Oh my God.
So I think we were it was before high school. So we were really, really young, and I didn't understand.
Scared.
I was scared. And I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Like at first I'm like, okay, I gotta, thug it for my sister. But once they was like, you gonna get an ambulance? I'm gonna get a car. Put me in the car.
I'm straight.
I don't want to do this. But yeah. So and then my aunt, she has. So we're the only.
Oh my God! It flew right into my eye. I'm sorry.
You good? We're the only 3 people in my family.
Yeah.
To have sickle cell disease.
Okay, so there's a difference between the trait and the disease.
Yes.
Okay.
So the trait, you can live a long time with the trait. You don't have to have any symptoms, any difficulties with the trait.
Okay.
but the disease is different.
Right. It's a little different. Okay.
Different. So when my aunt, when I found out about her sickle cell and things like that nature, she's different than me and my sister. Like, of course,
Isn't that crazy though?
Yes.
That is insane.
Like, she went blind in both of her eyes. Luckily, thank God, one of her eye visions came back, but she's still blind in the other one. Me and my sister don't have that issue, but she still deals with like pain crisis with my sister done dealt with. And like I said, God waited till I was a little older to deal with these pain crises. But when you have sickle cell, you don't know how it's going to affect you, because I done met a lot of different sickle cell patients, and I'm like,
our stories are all
dealt
different.
with that? Like, are you?
Right.
And they look at me like, you dealt with that? Like,
right. Now, okay, so that you have a son, is there a way that you can already check to see if he has it, or okay.
So they can do a test while you're pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah, they like
technology, boy, I tell you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me.
I didn't do that because we got his father tested first. Okay. So it's good to test both parents.
Gotcha.
So I knew I had the disease, but we didn't know if his dad had the trait, because like I said, a lot of people don't talk about it, don't know. So we found out he didn't have the trait, so there was like a likely chance he would have the disease.
Right.
Of course he would have the trait because he got some of it from me, but he did not get the disease, and I'm grateful for that.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. Because like, even though you like, I think about this all the time. I'm not a mom yet, but I really want to be. And I think about like the fact that for the past couple months, years, let's just say years, let's not be so gracious on me, I wasn't taking care of myself, and I knew that if I got pregnant, it would be very dangerous for the baby. So it, like, because my A1C is too high, and it'll make either I have stillbirth, or I could possibly give my baby disorders, or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could disable my child, and I didn't want to do that, you know? So it was like, even this year, it was just so important to me that I got the proper care. I switched my doctors in January. Like, I was serious, because I'm like, before I get pregnant, I need to make sure my A1C is good before, during, and after. Because if I don't, it's gonna hurt the baby. And I'm like, I care about my kids, even though I'm not a mom, but I still care right now, because it's like, my decisions today can affect them.
Exactly.
So it's always important to make sure that you looking out for your health, and like checking to see like what's actually going on. And I know a lot of African Americans don't really like going to the doctors and everything, but I feel like it's always better to know than not to know, because if you don't know, and then you going through life, and you just lackadaisical, and you just don't know. Because I feel like I broke myself. And I feel like that's what triggered, because I was not like this when I was young. Like I told you, I got diagnosed at 21. And the lady was like, I'm surprised you're not in diabetic coma. Excuse me? What do you mean by that? Because you didn't tell me that I was diabetic. And you didn't tell me this until I got a phone call and telling me to go to the emergency room. And I'm feeling fine. But it's because I'm high functioning for months on end. But thanks for telling me, doc. Not even.
That's crazy.
These gnats crazy. I'm about to act up. Sorry. Anyways, you mentioned the IVF in times like that. Like, would the baby have been a savior baby? Because you said that you needed a match. So how would that have worked? Like, what's the process in that?
So yeah, my parents would have had to have another baby and try to have a baby without sickle cell. Now, here's what's funny. After your first child that has sickle cell disease, there's a 20% chance that that next child will not have the disease.
Just 20? That's it?
But my sister has the disease.
Right.
Girl.
Okay.
The math wasn't math.
It don't sound like it. Shoot. Like, how many times do I have to try before, you know what I'm saying? Are you the oldest?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Got you.
So yeah, we're like, you don't want to keep trying, and it's
now you got a house full of kids and
with sickle cell,
like we all just struggling. We all got different struggles in this society.
Exactly.
No. So did they end up trying?
No, the survival rate was too low.
Right.
I remember that appointment because my mom was like I said, she was in the car and she was crying, and I told her, I said, God got me, and she over here like,
what you talking about, girl?
Exactly. So we didn't go that route.
Okay.
And they actually came up with, it's called gene therapy now. FDA signed off on it and confirmed it in December.
Okay.
That will get rid of sickle cell yeah. I ain't gonna talk too much about it because that's gonna be another book. Journey of Faith to a Cure.
All right. And I'll be reading it. I will. I support. I support. What was I finna say? Oh yeah. My next question following that was, if that route had been taken, how do you think that child would have grown up and felt about those decisions?
Whoa.
I know. But it was intriguing because I tried to put myself in that place, you know?
I can't say. I don't know, because I actually met a
I know they going stupid. I'm sorry.
I met some siblings, and he was his brother's match. He was his donor, and I would think like he had to endure a lot of pain for his brother,
right?
And for when I think back on it, like, would I want to put a baby in that situation?
Right.
Like, that would be hard, because I already know that I'm finna go through it. Why would I want you have to see you go through it? Like, so what they have to do is stick a needle into your bone to get that marrow out.
Yeah.
That's painful.
It sounds like it.
I don't know. I ain't did it, but I've heard that it's painful. But Mm-mm.
Okay. We gonna move on. That was a very intriguing
I don't
part.
think I would not want that. Of course, but I was young, so I couldn't vocalize that. I couldn't say that because I didn't realize it myself.
True. Facts.
But now being older, I would not have. I don't think I would have liked that decision for a baby,
especially your sibling, like somebody that. It's like, it's an honor to do it, but under the pretenses of it, you know?
And you're not even getting a say-so.
Exactly. Because you're unknowing. So it's like, you're the saver baby. Because I feel like maybe it would be different if maybe you had like an older sibling. It was like, they had a say and be like, you know, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I heard you. But, either way. So Miss Stepper.
Hey.
Tell me about that journey.
That was something that I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
Because of all that I was going through and all the strokes and doctor's appointments, I didn't realize how therapeutic stepping was.
Yeah.
Like, when you get to stomp that anger out and clap.
It's a whole nother feeling.
It is a whole nother feeling. And I did performances back in school, and I enjoyed them. Because every stomp was a piece of freedom for myself.
Oh, love that. Clock it too. All right. Okay. No, that part of the book did make me smile. I was like, I'm glad that you found something that made you feel alive.
Yes.
You know, like it doesn't always have to be about your condition. It was like, this is me.
Yes.
Like,
and a lot of people would identify me as the sickle cell girl.
Right.
So when I had stepping in my life, I was a step star.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I went from stepping to becoming a captain.
See, and
so you forgot about the girl with sickle cell. You now was like, oh, that's the step coach captain. Like, I took it.
I like that. I like that. I love that for you.
Thank you.
Like, literally, dang. I guess this is my therapy. I tell people that all the time. Like, I started this maybe a month or two before I got diagnosed. And like, if you look at me now and look at me when I had lost 50 pounds from, like, now it would be like more like 30 because I'm like 150, 60-ish. But I had got that, my lowest was like 126. I looked sick.
Oh.
You know, but in my head, I look good. You know,
girl, help me out.
I was happy. I was chiseled. You feel me? But it was like, I found this was my therapy.
Yeah.
Talking to y'all and being able to connect with people makes me happy, and it makes me feel like I'm alive, you know?
Yes.
So,
I feel like everybody needs that thing, their own thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't go, I say this with passion, you can't go through things. You can't go through life without having your thing. Like, of course, I had stepping, but writing was my thing. I used to write poetry all the time.
Do you or did you? Do you still do it?
I do. I actually had back in 2023. I had my first performance, an all-white party, and they asked me to, perform one of my poets. Yeah.
Do you have a video or something? I hope so.
No, I do not. But I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta collect. I do poetry as well.
Girl, we finna go to a poetry slam.
Look, we are. She done became my new friend.
Exactly.
In like a couple weeks. Like all the things that we connected over, like I can already see it now, like a back and forth type of poem. It'll be y'all just wait for it. So going to our question for the last. In moments of that intensity, did you truly consider your options? Oh, this was about the pregnancy. I lied. We're going to the end because we already know you stood on business 10 toes down for your child, and
I did.
And now she has a 3-year-old.
Yes.
Like,
and I'm happy to say, like, he has the trait and not the disease.
Yeah.
That was something that we wanted to make sure of before I made that decision to keep him, because I truly feel like if he would have had the disease,
yeah,
I'm risking my child's life.
Yeah.
Like they told me at my appointments and stuff like that, like you could stroke out and die.
Oh my God.
You will. That same appointment, like you will stroke out and die.
And that seems like a scare tactic, because did you, like, during your pregnancy, did any of the like horrible stuff happen?
Girl, I enjoyed my entire pregnancy.
And that's what I'm talking about.
I had no complications. Of course, I stayed having my treatments. I was going to the doctor, my 3 doctors, my hematologist.
Hold on. What is that?
A hematologist.
Wait a second. I ain't never heard it. I seen it in the book, but I didn't know what it was.
Yes, a hematologist is a blood doctor.
Oh.
So people
like hemoglobin. I'm here.
She locked in now.
Look, I know a lot about hemoglobin. My A1C. I know about that. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we here. Go ahead.
I have my hematologist, of course, my OBGYN.
Yeah.
And I had 4, excuse me. I had a neurologist.
Okay.
Because of my strokes, they were like, you got to stay on every appointment with your neurologist, because you can have a stroke at any moment. And I said, all right, I'm in there. Like, I don't mind.
Right.
And then, of course, my apheresis.
I'm going to go back 1 second. Mm-hmm. Now, I know we've been talking about strokes this entire episode.
Yep.
But what is it affecting your brain?
Yes.
Okay. We just making sure.
Yes. It's not enough blood to the brain.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And your apheresis.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah, we here. And just to make sure, those were the silent strokes. No, that's TIA.
Yes. TIAs are like silent strokes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the strokes that you really can't see.
Okay.
It's hard to tell that you're even having a stroke.
That is scary.
Girl,
oh my Lord.
Talk about
so
it.
Scary.
Like, you don't know if you're having a stroke right now. Like,
now my thing is, so if you're having silent strokes, how do the doctors know that you're having a silent stroke?
They don't know if I'm having it, but they can see it on the MRI.
Oh.
The MRI will show, like, oh, she's having a stroke.
Oh, wow.
Like, or she had a stroke. Like, and then they'll ask, like, did you have any symptoms? No, I didn't go through that.
And
but
that's how they know it's silent. Education, boy. Okay, so my last question is, the way of the placement of events and people in your life, did it feel worth it? Like, did things make sense the way that they eventually unfolded?
Yes. At first, I used to ask myself, why me?
Right.
A lot of people ask when they're going through stuff, why me? Why do I have to go through that? But I had to realize it had to be me, because if anybody else were to walk in my shoes, they'd be ready to quit.
Right.
So I realized it had to be me. I couldn't say why me. And I had to go through what I had to go through so that I can bring information to you guys.
Right. Because it's not why me, it's why not me.
Yes.
I relate heavily. It's having these conditions, it makes you look at life differently. Like, even just in the midst of that month that I lost my sight, I was like, wow, how is my life about to look? Obviously,
Exactly.
it's finna look like shapes. I couldn't even see my face. It was. I laugh now, but that was the scariest.
See, my heart goes out to her.
And I was alone. I was in school because I had got admitted into the hospital for the night before Thanksgiving. And then on Thanksgiving, that was the first time my sugar had dropped. I never felt that before. So I'm shaking, I'm crying, and everybody's scared. Like, I'm with all my family, and everybody just like, somebody help her. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And that happened. Then that Saturday came, so I was good on Friday. Saturday, I woke up, and now during school, sometimes I woke up, it'd be blurry. I close it, come back. This time, it didn't do that.
Gosh.
And I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I can't see. And she was like, what you mean? You can't see? And I'm like, bro, I can't even see your face right. Like, I know you're here because I know your voice. All I'm saying is life-changing events make you a little bit more open.
Yeah.
And it's a grateful feeling that I get every day. Like, yeah, diabetes sucks, and I'm pretty sure sickle cell sucks. But it's like at the end of the day, you know, it happened to us for a reason, and we're here to spread awareness. So,
Yes.
yeah. Do you have any last comments, questions, concerns, announcements?
So I do have an announcement. So my book, Journey of Faith Plus One, will be coming out soon. I'm talking about not just my pregnancy, but single motherhood.
Yeah.
Still writing it, but I want to let everybody know that whatever you're going through, trust in yourself, trust in God, and always keep your faith.
You heard her. You heard her. Nah, because when she write that book, yeah, what we going to do? We going to turn it into a movie.
Period.
But nah, y'all, thank you for tuning in today. I'm Taisha, and this was Kayla. This is DBYT Podcast, and we going to see y'all next time. Bye. What's so with it?